that all you got? Why did you have to ask that, kid?
Hey guys, this is Joe Deckelmeyer with ScreenRant. We're at WonderCon 2025 in the beautiful Anaheim Convention Center. I am with the genius himself, Simon Racioppa. How are you, sir? We're going to talk some Invincible.
Well, if you keep on saying genius, I'll be even better. But no, that's, yeah, thank you. It's very kind.
For your initials.
Yes,
we got this figured out, sir.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
But I want to talk about season 3.
Sure.
Because Invincible this season was, whoo, that was a ride. That was a hell of a ride. But we get to dive a little bit deeper into the moral complexities of being a hero.
Yes.
Talk to me about the biggest challenge in adapting that theme from the comics to the series.
Well, I mean, I think it's all there in the books, but I mean, the biggest challenge is making it seem reasonable, right? Is like, because obviously I think superhero comics for a long time have had like a no-killing policy and stuff. But again, what if maybe kind of killing somebody saves 1,000 other lives, saves 10,000 other lives? Is there a line? There, I think a lot of people might say, well, like maybe, you know, if killing someone would save 1 million lives, maybe that's the right thing to do. And other people would say, no, it's absolutely not. So we don't want to answer that question, but we want to pose that question, bring it up.
Well, let's talk about the theme for a second, because Cecil says a line about the good guys versus the guys who saved Earth that kind of encapsulates the core of the conflict. Talk to me about approaching and developing that ideological difference between Mark and Cecil.
Yeah, they have different points of view. They're different people, right? So Cecil's point of view is that, like, you know, I think the line is, he's like, you can be the good guys or you can be the guys to save the world. Sure. You can't be both, right? His point of view is like, he's looking bigger picture. He would 100% kill one person to save 20 or 30 or 40 or 1 million or whatever. He would do that. That's his position, right? Mark's position is different, and Mark's position changes over the course of the season, and it'll probably change again in the future. And I hope our audience have different ideas also about like what they would do in those scenarios. Like we want to ask the question. We want to show you that it's not an easy answer, no matter what you believe.
I love, and that's something I do love about the show is that you're always on Mark's journey with whatever internal conflict he's going through, and that's just as important as him being this great superhero. But I want to talk about how you guys in season 3 lean into like the villain of the week almost. Mm-hmm. That was a different structure than we've gotten from the other 2 seasons. Was that a deliberate storytelling device that you used specifically for this season? And can you talk about the benefits of approaching this season 3 that way?
Sure. I don't think it was a deliberate thing. It was, you know, obviously we use the graphic novels, Robert's incredible graphic novels, as the sort of the ground truth of the series. And his novels are wide expanses of different heroes, different characters, different questions. We want to fit a lot of that into the show. So I think season 3, we're like, let's show these characters. Let's show these other, you know, villains and stuff and get into them. But it wasn't like a marked decision of being like, oh, let's separate and let's do more sort of monster of the week kind of thing. I think the promise of Invincible that we try to stay true to is that every episode ends where the next one starts, sure. Right? And we never forget a previous episode. So even though we might have an episode that seems like it's standalone, something happens in that's going to it's going to reflect on Mark, and he's going to carry it forwards into a future episode. Yeah.
I do want to talk about a standout character, not even just from this season, but in general, is Rex Blode. I love Rex. I love Rex too. I love me some Rex Blode. Talk to me. What made you want to deepen his role in this season?
Yeah, I mean, that sort of came out of conversations. Like, obviously, in season 2, he and Shrinking Ray go through a fairly traumatic experience together. They both almost die, in this terrible attack with the Lizard League on a missile base. And we just started talking in the writer's room about like what that would do to a person, both on an individual level and then also with the other person who survived. They're like sort of brothers in arms or brothers and sisters in arms, or, you know, and how that would change you. And we wanted to make sure that, again, they carried the trauma of that experience forwards, and that deepened the relationship. And then it just felt natural and organic to sort of go from there and let them just sort of take that a little bit further.
I love that. Now, you talked about Robert Kirkman's graphic novel and the comic series being the groundwork for what the show is, but the show does definitely take certain creative liberties with the comic storyline. Were there any specific changes you felt that were essential to adapt to give fans a different experience with the show than what we got in the comics?
Sure. I mean, one of the things, like, Robert's the co-showrunner on the show with me, like we talk all the time. He's there for every part of the show, was going through and sort of like looking at some of the early books, which he wrote, over 15 years ago now, sort of being like, well, you know what, Debbie is a major part of this, but in the books, maybe she doesn't have enough pages. you know. So she was a great example of a character where like she is married to Omni-Man. She would know something is up. She would feel like something has changed in a relationship early on. She might be the first one to know. So that was an individual case where we wanted to go deeper and explore more and just give her more time, tell her story a bit more fully on screen than it was in the comics.
That's it. So that's such a fascinating idea. It must be so cool for Robert to revisit these characters after he wrote the initial run and was like, well, has a different approach to them now, which obviously helps inform the story that we're getting. Now, I want to talk about Battle Beast's return because that was a huge highlight for a lot of fans. Can you tease anything about his future in the series?
Sure. I mean, I think we do. At the end of the last episode, we see that he survived his Viltrumite jailbreak earlier in the season, and he's off in space, and he just wants more. More what? I think we know.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get some more.
Look, the thing that blew me away this season was the animation, the actual animation. It felt more dynamic than it ever has before. Were there any technical advancements or changes that helped you approach this series in season 3 differently than you did in the previous 2 seasons?
I mean, we have an incredible animation team. We have like Dan Duncan and Sean O'Neill, who are supervising directors and supervising producers. We have Do Hong, who's one of our art directors. They're always looking for ways to streamline the process and just like improve. We call it the pipeline of the show, and just find ways to make that better and just let the rest of the crew do more of what they do better. Every show has constraints of either schedule or budget, but we're always looking for ways to do things smarter. And those guys, they just deliver 110% every single episode.
We know that season 4 is already in the works. I want to talk about, can you talk about if the show's going to continue experimenting with story structures, or do you think we'll return to more of the central villain arc in season 4?
I mean, we're always going to try and push boundaries a little bit. I don't want the show, and I know Robert doesn't want the show either, to become a gimmicky show where we're just like, oh, this is our musical episode. This is our like backwards episode. This is our episode that's black and white. Like, we're not going to do that. That's not what Invincible is. But we are going to hopefully surprise you in places. We're going to move things around. Maybe we put our we do our end of episode coda. Sometimes we put that in the middle. Sometimes we put it at the start. We're going to do stuff like that. We're going to play around with the title card, but we're not going to, again, give you like our mystery episode or anything like that.
Invincible the musical.
Invincible the musical. I mean, I say never, but like, I don't know. See how many more seasons they give us.
Right. I do want to talk about the tease of the potential Hell storyline.
Yes.
For a second, because there's a lot that has a lot of fans buzzing. How did that idea of finally exploring that unused comic storyline come about?
Sure. Well, I mean, again, Robert, huge part of the show, obviously created the comic books. A lot of cases, there's beats in the show that come about after talking to him and him sort of saying like, oh, well, I never got a chance to do this in the books, but that character's backstory, I always thought was this and this and this. And we're like, that's great. Let's put that in the show now. So a lot of that stuff comes from Robert. So he has head canon, I guess. It's not canon. I mean, it is canon because it's him. Of other things that never made it on the page.
Sure.
So that is an example of he's like, well, there was this story I always wanted to do Invincible, and I kind of lost track of it. I never got a chance to do it, and things moved on, and then I couldn't go back and do it. So why not do it in the show now? So that's a great example of that.
And that's great for longtime comic fans because they're getting something completely new that they never got.
They're getting like a lost issue.
Exactly.
Right,
exactly. I love that. Like in between of the time that we spent with the character in the comics. Now, can you confirm if Bruce Campbell's demon character is actually Satan, or will we have to wait and see?
I think you have to wait and see.
I figured that you were going to give me that answer.
Bruce is incredible, though. He's great. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, but I can't tell you.
I can't wait. Now, Damien Darkblood returned.
Yes.
And was a huge surprise for everybody. How significant will his arc be expanding season 4 compared to what we saw in season 1?
I mean, I think you're just gonna have to wait and see. But let's just put it this way. Everybody loves Damien Darkblood. Clancy Brown, I mean, is incredible.
It's great.
One of my first movie moments was him as the Kurgan in Highlander. I mean, so we're just like, we need more Clancy. I mean, Clancy does a couple other roles for us, but we need more Damien in the show. So that's a nice treat.
So out of curiosity, how far have you guys plotted ahead with how far you guys are going with Invincible?
Well, obviously we have the books again, the ground truth of the series. We've talked about it all the way to the end. Like Rob and I have had conversations about it, but in terms of actual like sitting down and actually starting to do work on it, we're just doing 4, up to 4 right now. So hopefully we'll get to do more. But like we've had dinner and talked about like other parts, like wait till we get to this part or wait till we get to that part.
So the 6 seasons in a movie may relate to something else, but could there be a possible Invincible animated film that you guys could be working on?
I mean, I guess anything is possible, but there's nothing to report about that.
All right, fair enough. Well, look, Simon, thank you so much for stopping by. The show's absolutely incredible. I thought this animation in this season was groundbreaking. So good.
Great team.
Great team. And just in general, the show's fantastic. So thank you so much.
It's very kind of you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.
Okay.
You look amazing.
I don't know. Feels a little serious.